Hello and welcome to an existence. It's anything goes with Jason and me. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all right out there in this new 2021. How are you doing, Jason?
So far, so good. And as I adjust my light just as we go live, but no, it's actually blue M&Ms. We only want the blue M&Ms. Cashew.
Oh, someone chucking cashews at people.
Yes, because I'm gonna stop every time I come into the green room.
Chucking cashews at people.
It's like I come in and they have all these different M&Ms mixed together, and I'm like, this is unacceptable. But I still come on and do the show because I love you.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I only want the blue M&Ms.
Yeah, what's with the blue ones? Bigfoot likes blue, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He's always attracted to blue things.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
That's why I rarely go out my beautiful blue eyes.
Gorgeous.
They would just come in, and then there's nothing more that could be done. That's my life then.
Like a magnet. Your eyes are like a magnet. Yeah. I'm cold because my heating broke down on Christmas Eve, and I've been freezing ever since. I can't get a plumber till the 12th of January. So, yeah. And something really shocking happened tonight because I bought 2 heaters and they're really expensive to run. And I thought, I can't do this. This is just ridiculous. So behind me, you can see I've put it's an old curtain actually, and I've pinned it. I'm in my front room and I have a back room, and it's knocked through, if you will. It used to be 2 separate rooms. And so I put a curtain up. The curtain's on the other side of the room. And I thought, because I've got a fire in here going, and the draft in my house is ridiculous. So I put the curtain up, and the next thing, can you see it? Right?
Uh-huh.
This is not good.
No.
This is not good. This is like a huge draft. So I've seriously got to. And then my cooker, do you call them cookers or ovens over there? The where you cook your meals on, the rings, the grill, the cook, and all that.
Okay, yeah? Well, that's a stove, yeah.
The stove there. Well, that's set on fire today. So I'm cold and I'm hungry.
You're having all kinds of fun, aren't you?
I know. And then they say it comes in threes, don't they? Bad luck comes in threes. And
then now I'm here. So there you go.
And it's happened. So everything's going to be good from now on. So, yeah, so that's my drama. As boring as it is, it's a stove, yeah.
Well, it gets cold. Yeah, it gets cold where you are, though. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm in Texas. Like, we kind of had our little bit of a cold snap. Now it's back up to the 40s and 50s. So,
right. Oh, no, it's 0 now. So it's freezing.
So it's freezing, yeah. No, we haven't been... Yeah, we haven't had much of a winter this year. We'll probably have one more good cold snap. But it gets cold where you are for much, much longer. So,
yeah, we'll be cold right up till spring. Even spring the sun will be out, but it'll be chilly. It'll still be frosty. And we still get frosts in April, May even sometimes. So, you know, who's in? Hello, Vincent. Good to see you in here tonight. Batmom and Lindsay. We've got Leon coming on in a bit, I think, if he's done his hair and stuff like that. But until then, I didn't do any homework. I was going to do some homework about Bigfoots in Europe, but it was too cold, basically. My fingers too cold to type anything on the computer. But I sent you that thing, didn't I, about the Standing Stones documentary?
Yes. No, I really wanted to take a closer look at that. This week has been busy for me. But I'll take a look at this next week. That looks really interesting. I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah. Don't know whether to just play a little bit at the end. Oh, we've got. I didn't do any homework. Oh, you've got your volume on. Got your volume on.
I don't have any.
You got you got something playing in the background. Well, I sent you that thing, didn't I, about the.
Oh, there's a delay.
I don't think it's a delay. I think he's got something playing in the background. Have you got something on in the background, Leon?
But I'll take a look at this next week. That looks really interesting.
Yeah, he has, because I've muted him. I can hear it.
On channel, but I was I sent you some stuff that if you guys want to talk about it, because I certainly needed your ear today about what happened this week. But it's good to see you, Jason. Happy New Year's, my wise old man friend who looks like Santa. He is real, and he's not even blurred.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's how you know. It's not blurry.
Yeah.
And I'm still recovering from the holidays, man. It's hard. You go all over the place and the banging from the elves. It's not worth it.
Well, you got 365 days off now, so hopefully you can just lounge for a while.
Yeah, well, it takes time to build up that much magic. But how you doing, man?
Well, I certainly was frustrated this week over something. I'm not sure if you guys want to talk about it or not, but
No, we don't.
Okay, good.
Well, go on, then.
Did your radiator go out too?
No, actually it's gotten really mild here. We had 8 inches of snowfall in 4 hours, and now I can see my driveway, which I couldn't see earlier.
Hey.
So,
Well, there you go.
yeah, so I mean, I can't complain. I hope it doesn't get any more milder, because we're trying to get out to a location where a sighting had showed up, and there's supposed to be trackway there that we're going to be investigating, and that's one of the parts that I'm frustrated about. Not about the weather, but about some dynamics that we always chat about online. You know, instead of going around this cul-de-sac in a circle, and then more people join the circle, and we just keep going around, and then they pick up the data from the circle, and they realize there's something missing here, so they leave the circle, and other people come in. And how do you vet information and find out what is helpful for people at home? And what I like about you, Jason, is, you know, you're not scared of education. You know,
Spiders though.
You know, like I don't know why people are scared about educating themselves to find out what is it we're looking at. Like I think it'd be helpful if we could do that. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. So
as long as we're not looking for giant spiders, I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't like the whole idea about how they just kind of wrap you up and then they just stick that thing in you, and then you're sitting there wrapped up, and you're waiting to be on their dinner plate, right?
Well, thank you for that. Now that's going to be in my head the rest of the evening. Thank you.
I think you're dead at that point, aren't you? And I think you probably had all the.
Well, see, that's the terrifying thing. It's an insect world, not really us, but you get paralyzed, so it takes you a while to die, and your internal organs to, liquefy. So, yay to that.
Yeah, that's
even insects need smoothies, buddy. Come on.
So we say all this. Hold on. And I've been working on this for a while. It's actually my second version because I didn't like how the first one came out. It's for a friend. I'll be turning it into a print.
Nice,
man. It's all Spider-Man stuff.
Nice.
It's all the mini versions of Spider-Man, and it's like, I hate spiders. I hate them. I really do. But like, Spider-Man's my favorite character. Everyone's like, well, isn't that weird? I'm like, no, because he's running around red and blue spandex. If spiders were running around little blue spandex looking like people, I probably wouldn't be all that afraid of them.
Do you have like little house spiders there?
Of course.
Did you ever pick them up then? Can you not just start with a little? The ones with the really long legs but the tiny bodies, they can't do anything.
Oh, you're talking about daddy long legs. Yeah,
No. House. I call them house spiders. They just have really long legs, but they have much smaller bodies than your average spider. They're very light. They're not a daddy long leg. But,
that's what we would call them too. Is daddy long legs? Yeah, the most venomous.
Maybe they're
poison.
Yeah, they're not poisonous. But I used to have one, and every night it used to do the same thing. It used to come onto my settee, and then it would walk over my knee and walk down my leg and up onto my coffee table. Oh, seriously, this went on for like a few weeks. It was like a weird. I don't know.
Did you name him?
No, just friend. But yeah, that was weird. Maybe it was a few of them. But tell us about what happened, Leon, because this is good to know. This is
very frustrating. This is going to be very frustrating. A lot of people are going to be frustrated by this as well, I think. You know, we're always talking about vetting the information and finding information, and where do we go to get locations or data from in regards to resources for our local areas and stuff. And I noticed on little after Christmas, BFRO had posted a sighting that supposedly had happened up by Slocan Lake, which is within our striking range for our team area that we cover. And so I contacted Matt, the money maker. We've been talking off and on throughout this week via email. And I was trying to show him some things that had come into us regarding the area and what had happened. And Danielle, I kind of sent you some stuff there. And I was kind of surprised. I'm doing up a video, so I don't want to give up too much about this, but I'm going to go through it very precisely. And this will be including all of the emails that Matt and I were talking about as well. And I've been hearing for a while, and not necessarily, I've been hearing on different channels here too, and during interviews, about an attitude that's coming out towards the BFRO, which isn't a positive attitude. And I think I bumped into it this week. And I'm not too sure how to negotiate it. My last email I sent to Matt, I tried to be as positive as I could and affirm what he's done for the Bigfoot online community. But he has just posted today, after my email I sent to him yesterday, which is kind of interesting that he posted it today right after I sent him my last email, because there was a lot of suspicions about the sighting that is now posted on BFRO. You guys can check that out. It's in the British Columbia, Canada. Go to the sites there. You'll see it's been posted on December 25th. It's regarding 4 people in a vehicle that saw a Sasquatch on the side of the road. You'll notice in the report, it has the coordinates for that. And since we are in the area, I thought I'd reach out to Matt to see if we can get either contact information or any more information that he might have. They have pictures that are posted on that particular, on his, I think it's on his Facebook page. He just posted it today. But there's a lot of questionable stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. So we have a team going out tomorrow. We'll be on site in the morning. We have over 60 years of experience in the bush and deep bush from a variety of different angles. And one of the things I was hoping, and the reason why I reached out to Matt was, you guys, my other videos, I talk about this corridor where they seem to be coming in from the east mountain range and heading to the west in the summertime. And we have about, I think I have over 27 reports so far about that, and how they come through at a certain specific time. And when they start coming through, that's when the reports start coming in. This has been accumulated from data from everything from the early 2000s to present day. 5 years of that is our stuff that we added on to that map. Now, of course, we went through the BFRO encounters for the Okanagan area, and we've included that data on top of this. But I think what we're going to be finding isn't the narrative that's been produced by Matt tomorrow. And it's a tough one to do, because I'm having to do a systematic, what we're going to do when we get on site is we will show everybody exactly what to do if you come across tracks and how to negotiate that area. Mm-hmm. So you don't just go right to the tracks. What you have to do is, if you have any kind of event, say my nose here is the center of the event, what you should do is about 1.5 miles out, either north, south, east, or west, go out about 1.5 miles and do a complete circle 1.5 miles around where the event is, especially if there's a track way, which Matt is suggesting that these, on his particular Facebook post, he says these are the clearest Bigfoot tracks in 2020 that he's showing us and stuff. Now, I don't know how he would know that, since he is not in Canada. He's certainly not in the area that I work out of, and he hasn't seen the tracks personally. So our guys are trained in tracking, and the reason why it's important for us for our research is we're trying to find out if they're migrating through the area. The good thing about finding tracks like that, which is ideally what we're waiting for in wintertime, is so that we can send a team following the tracks that aren't afraid of what they're going to bump into, and they're qualified to deal with high duress, stress situations. So Nick and Drake, both of them are Nick's ex-British military. He can handle the forest. He's used to being in the bush chronically. He's training right now for a 400-mile run with having to carry all his gear with him. And that run has to be done in 8 days. He's dropped in the forest. Also, he has a map and he has to coordinate himself. So he's highly qualified. He'll be going after the Sasquatch, probably along with Justin. Not Justin from Mountain Beast Mysteries, but Justin, who is another fellow that we have that does deep forest gold mining. So it's more likely we'll send him with Justin or with Nick, because both those guys are a lot younger and sprier. Drake will be coming along with me. We will be following the footprints from where they came from, and we will keep following those bloody tracks till we can't find them anymore. So we should be able to, because there's about a foot of snow that had fallen, but it has been mild, but that's okay. We should still be able to find it. And so the idea is for us to go up there and track this stuff down. Now, there's a lot of local information that needs to be vetted that I didn't notice Matt doing. And one that was kind of peculiar to me, and I'll throw this out to you guys, you help me, okay? Because I'm not here to stir up the pot about anything, especially about an icon, but I'll tell you, the drawback is if we go out there and find absolutely everything opposite of what Matt has said, what's a pain in the arse for us is what data can we trust from the BFRO? You see how this could be a great problem, because we drew a lot of research off the BFRO's website. And if all of a sudden we have one of the main guys or the main guy saying this is the best Sasquatch tracks, we've looked at those track pictures right now. We're almost 100% sure they're not Sasquatch at all. Now, we haven't seen them yet, so we're fair about that. Matter of fact, we were talking this morning about, I hope we're all wrong. I hope we find.
Why don't you think they are? Explain why you don't think they are.
Well, because they look like moose. And the reason why they look like moose, again, you can't see it from a picture. You have to be on site. So I don't know how we could claim that these are the best footprints. The pictures aren't even that clear. They don't show footprints. They show it's obviously had a slight snowfall over the tracks. So they're not clear. The other thing too is they're too narrow. And they look like that. There's a couple of tracks that are in there that to me look like they're double print. Now I'm qualified to look at tracks and understand what they look like in different weathering. So when I'm looking at different weathering, so when you look at this one here.
What's this drag mark there? What's that drag mark there, do you think?
Well, that's the drag mark from what he's suggesting is that's the heel mark going into where the ground is. Now you can, if you guys are hunters out there and you've done a lot of bush stuff, especially you guys on the East Coast, I think you had your buddy there who showed up from Newfoundland and stuff. He's going to look at, those are narrow, man. That's a double print right there. I can tell that's a double print from what I'm looking at. So what we're going to do is we're not going to go right to the prints. What we're going to do is do a whole circumference of the area first, and we're going to follow the tracks back. Then we'll go to the center of where the tracks actually are, because in the BFRO report, it says that it was standing up and then it went down on all fours. Now, if it's gone down on all fours, that means that the weight distribution of the depth of the track is going to be about half. Now, when I first heard about the supposed Sasquatch being seen here, you know, and I don't blame the witnesses. I think the witnesses, you know, there's another important part I haven't shared yet. I think the witnesses saw something for sure. But I think it could be a pretty good chance. I'm going to say that right now because we want this to be tracks because we need it for our data. And but I already have suspicions, and a lot of you guys who've done research out online, you've been to hundreds of these things where they seemed really, really good, you know. And you got there and it was like another letdown. I don't want this to be a letdown. I hope Matt is 100% correct. Actually, getting Drake messaging me right now.
Tell me, say hi.
Yeah, bring him online. So what we do hope. I'd love it to go there and find out that the tracks are solid. Now, the good thing about the area or the sighting was it was alongside of the highway, and the highway happened to be have an area that was cleared off. And so where the sighting was in the clearing area off the highway. On the west side of the highway is Slocan Lake. It's a very long, thin lake. So that means it can only move 3 directions, north, south, or east. So the other good thing about, So the other good thing about that is Once we do the circumference of the area, now my suspicion is we're going to get there pretty quickly and find out whether or not it's a Sasquatch track anyways to begin with. But once we locate the trackway in that circle, so say here's the circle here, the encounter was right here in the middle of my nose, and all of a sudden that circle part, the tracks are going up here or maybe down here or coming in from down here and going out this way. We'll narrow that down into a 150-foot swath, and we'll start following those tracks as far as we can follow them. Now we should be able to follow them if they're fairly, if there are what they're saying, we should be able to follow them for miles.
And if it's a moose, they're not going to disappear, are they?
No, and that's the other good thing. See, so I have a responsibility, okay? And I think everyone has a responsibility when we talk about upping our game. I don't care who's saying anything, including me, which you guys have heard me say before. If I claim anything about a Sasquatch, you have a right to release the hounds on me. My responsibility is to make sure I provide a clear narrative and disciplined video so you can see what we're looking for. So the interesting thing is, because it's getting warmer out here, if those are moose tracks, we should be able to show you the moose hooves at the bottom of it, because they'll be impressed inside of the ground. See, the tracks you're noticing now, you can't see that because there's a light. They've always had a light skiff of snow over them. Right. Again, they're too narrow. Moose usually comes up with its foot, and remember the suggestion. And you guys again can check Matt's own clear thing about it. We're going to go through systematically what he's saying that is, so that you understand. If it isn't, we'll bow the knee 100%, and we hope it is it. But if it's not it, we're going to tell you that this is not it, and this is why it isn't it. When you're looking at the moose tracks, he was talking about the stride between the tracks are 10 feet. Okay, see that, Jason? You see how you did that? That's pretty big, isn't it? Yeah, so if any of you are at home, take a measuring tape, open it up to about 5 feet, lock the tape, and then just do a casual step. So I'm 5'11". My casual step is about 2 feet 10 inches. My normal stepping. So if you times that by 2, that'll give you my height. So if you're talking something, and he's claiming it's only 9 feet, it's a 9-foot Sasquatch with a 10-foot stride, I don't think so.
No, that would be. Yeah, that creature would be 15, 20 feet tall.
Yes.
If you're talking about a 10-foot, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if I say that, I'm going to get hammered on that site, right? If I mention that kind of a thinking process, that's why I'm talking about you guys, because you're helping my brain try to be fair about this process. The other thing too is when I look at a bear track, when you look at a bear track, by the width and the length of the bear track, you can tell the size and the weight of the bear. Get a pretty good accurate thing with that. So if I'm looking at a moose or an elk, it's funny, one of the guys, Drake, who's texting me, messaging me right now, I didn't even tell him about I show him the videos or the prints or anything like that. I just talked about the 10-foot distance, and he broke out laughing. This is on the phone.
Well, but they didn't look like they were necessarily 10 feet apart, but we don't have anything really to judge for size. But I mean, that's
the thing too, is that's what bothers me about this one, Jason. This is what really bothers me about this one. I'm really hoping he hasn't just provided a narrative that's primed our brain from what he's putting his apophenia, his dots of concepts together, and he's totally wrong. That's not going to help out. I mean, I've been online for 5 years battling this kind of stuff. And if I have to say what it is, matter of fact, our whole team says, let's find out exactly what the heck is going on here. And we're going to say everything, exactly what it is, because it's not going to be helpful. The disappointment is, what can I trust off of BFRO's page now if he still leaves this post up? And we will be sending a video out, and I'll send him a copy of the video. And again, it's going to include all the emails. So one of the emails I received from him, I thought, man, that was rather not defensive, but rather what's the word I'm looking for, when somebody kind of, talks down to you a bit or something like that. Patronizing, yeah. And he said, well, Leon, is this your logic? After I said a few things about him and stuff, so I'm going to include that email too. I'm almost tempted to go through the whole thing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I have to swallow everything I'm saying tonight. I hope he's 100% right, because that's what's important.
But like you say, he's not in Canada. He's just taking at face value what he's seeing. It doesn't make sense, the 10 feet stride.
Well, and he makes it, I mean, I sent you his posting. You can read it over, Danielle, just to confirm that he did say 10 feet. I'm pretty sure he did. So the frustrating part of it is this is what we've been dealing with. If everyone's crazy online, somebody at one point has to say, stop the craziness. This is a crazy train. Let's look at what we're looking at. I don't care if it's any cryptid. You have to still be fair about what you're doing, especially with people who are sincere about what they're doing, because we're outgunned. Justin from Mountain Beast Mysteries, he just posted a video recently, which most of you probably saw, about just dealing with this flood of new stuff that's coming online on YouTube channels. And it's like everything is exploding. The problem is we're getting a massive amount of that wave, but we're also getting this other wave, which is a lot more educationally based, academically based too. Healthy skepticism, critical thinking, to look at what we're looking at for us who are trying to find how to track them down, or at least to see one again. That's my goal. And I mentioned that to Matt in one of my emails. I just want to see one again. I don't need a lot of people. I just need the right people. But
we're not regulated, are we? We're not regulated. This subject is not regulated at all, and it's a free-for-all. And I'm not throwing accusations at anyone, but there's certain people who've been in this business, I'll call it, a long time, who have the monopoly on what they want to say, the narrative, if you will, and we just blindly follow them.
Great.
I mean, I don't, but I mean, I'm not, I have done, but when you have to, why are we trusting these people? Why are we just trusting what they say? And this is what people need to start thinking about, is to break down these reports. I've done it with a few reports. I mean, I'm not going to attack anyone or anything, but I've done it with the UK reports, and I'm not happy with the information that's on there. And I'm not going to go along with that some of those reports being called a Bigfoot sighting report, because there's not enough. Literally, they're so thin with information. It's like, we need to stop doing this. I believe Bigfoot exists. I do. I believe Kerry and Jay and what you think you saw, Leon and all that. But if we're going to get anywhere with this, we need to stop going over this same old crap over and over again.
Yeah.
And really, you either want to find out more about this creature, or you want to stay in what I'm going to call the fantasy Bigfoot land, where it can be absolutely everything and anything and this and that. And all right, lots of strange things are happening around Bigfoot, and maybe it's connected, maybe it isn't, but we just need to really just use our logic now, our common sense.
Yeah, and I think, that's
find the creature, because it could just be like a bear, could just be like any wild animal out there. So why are we creating this sort of fantasy idea about Bigfoot, and we get carried away with it? And I can't, it's really, I've said it to you, Jason, said it to Leon before. I can't keep having the same conversations about Bigfoot, because we're not going anywhere with it. We need to change how we're looking at this and how we're talking about it to move on with this subject, because this has been going on for I don't know how long.
That's what we've been talking about on Texas Channel too. It's like we're 50 minutes into 50 years into this actual. If it was 50 minutes, I think it'd be very illegal. But we're 50 years into this, right? And we've got basically nothing. We don't have any real hard evidence, so we can say here is a very clear, picture of a Sasquatch, and we know that this is a picture of a Sasquatch. We don't have the DNA. We don't have a body. We don't have the stuff we have, the same stuff we had 50 years ago. With the Patterson Gimlin film, we have some other blurry images that I think are good. And there's some that I think are legitimately weird, that I think are substantial. And we've got Trackway, but that's it. Like, we really haven't progressed. We're doing something fundamentally wrong. And let me throw one more thing in here. because I'm trying to say, hey, maybe we need to separate. I think this argument between the woo and say the fit, which again I still hate that word, Ric Flair only, but this physical versus paranormal. I think the problem is we have this conflict, and what we're doing is we're fighting over the name Bigfoot, not really over the phenomena. If we could actually say, well, hold on, this is a physical creature here. This is this other completely unrelated. Maybe it is related or not. Like you said, we don't know. But we need to be able to separate them out and say, this is weird and this seems to be physical, so we can really know what we're looking for. Because, Danielle, you talked about doing some research on European Bigfoot or, Bigfoot in that area. Let me ask the question. How do we know that's actually Bigfoot?
Exactly.
How do we know it's not something completely unrelated?
Exactly.
I mean, we have this idea. It's like, well, if it's hairy and bipedal, it must be Bigfoot. I don't think that's the case. And we're trying to lump everything together. Yeah. And it's like, nope, no, we're just throwing more things into this. It's like, maybe these are all completely different phenomena.
I'll just give you an example of I agree with what you're saying, Jason. We just don't know. I'll give you an example of a report I heard. I won't tell you where it's from. And this is literally, I'm repeating it word for word pretty much. A man is out running one day. He looks out into the tree line and he sees something big move into the tree line. Okay. 3 months later, he's in the same place. He hears a whistle. That's it. That's the report. How can someone submit that? I mean, maybe something big moving into the tree line. To add a whistle 3 months later, I mean, is that not a bit thin? Is that not? Is anyone? What do people think out there? Do you think that's worthy of being called a report? That information, that how do we know the whistle had anything to do with what he saw 3 months earlier? It's just like trying to put content out there that is so thin on the ground that and people are reading it. Oh, that's another report. Oh, let's tot it up to the other reports we've got. It doesn't. We really need to look closely at what people are saying, because if you do look into them, like I did, I'd spent some time looking into these reports, and I couldn't believe how many I could have just thrown straight into the bin and gone. You cannot put that in there as a report, as a sighting.
Oh, Leon's back.
I think the key part, like the idea too, because I always push just education, is when you show videos that don't just have a priming narrative to them, and you're showing people systematically why you're doing it, explaining why you're doing it, and showing them what it is from your inside out that you're looking at. That's the resources we've been missing for 50 years. We just have people that are kind of dressed as buttercup fairies running through the forest, going, oh, that's a Sasquatch, and this is a Sasquatch, and that's a Sasquatch. The idea about Nick, the great thing about having somebody who's trained in bushcraft is, we come across any kind of tree structure, he'll say, oh, that's called this kind of tree structure, and that's called this kind of tree structure. So they actually have labels, a lot of these tree structures that we are claiming to be Sasquatch. To me, I really hope they have a higher conscious availability to them, so that they have a personalities, individual personalities. We know that other primates have individual personalities to them. Put a little higher conscious availability to them with thinking process and brain development. I'm looking into a variety of different angles now in regards to what style of brain development they must have, which you've heard me talk about a few times online. But I guess that's what frustrates me about this thing is here I'm trying to assist the main BFRO researcher in the area by sending him stuff that I think is relevantly important. Remember, this was on December 25th of this year. On New Year's Day, I sent Daniela this particular video. Can you load that one there, Daniela? This is New Year's Day, Slocan River, which is just 35-minute drive down the road from where the sighting was. Now, we know the sighting because we have the coordinates for the sighting area. And the problem with that is on New Year's Day,
Hang on. Let me get it up at the same time, and then.
Okay. Now, this is what you would have to do for due diligence in regards to researching an area. I'm not blaming the witnesses, because witnesses will see things. They don't have a context of what they're seeing, and it looks like something that's familiar to the culture. That pattern is going to come up into the forefront of their brain. It's going to provide an apophenia, a narrative to what they're seeing, which is going to be that looks like a Sasquatch, and that is going to take your brain for a little trip here. Now, what you're watching here is a guy dressed as a Sasquatch doing the polar bear dip on New Year's morning, 7 days after the report, 35 minutes up the highway. This is done by an organization or by a coffee house company, and I hope I get it right. It's called Frog Peak Cafe.
He said, who? I would have said, bleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get the whole. I don't get the polar bear challenge. I've never have, but
yeah, I see you. I hear you.
Yeah, it's like, no.
But so, turtle head. Thank you very much.
I'm a Texas guy. Like, I can handle cold, but I ain't doing that. So quick question, just for a little bit of background on this. So the tradition is everyone dresses like Sasquatch, and
no, nobody does.
Okay.
And the other thing too is Slocan is a very small town. There's maybe a population of 400. It's out in the boonies, you guys. I mean, this place is not, BC is a big area. Canada is a big area. So you have these smaller towns. Now, the Frog Peak Cafe, if you go online and look at their webpage, they have a sculpted, carved Sasquatch in front of it. Not only that, they have other Sasquatch paraphernalia. Plus, they just put out that video 7 days after. 35-minute drive on the way to Slocan from the cafe to there. The people who work at the cafe that live in Slocan, because it's the only little town, they got to drive by that area all the time. So it's not like it's unfamiliar. Now, whether it is somebody dressed up as a Sasquatch, yes, it doesn't necessarily mean that the sighting didn't happen. But you have to at least keep that into consideration. So what would you do if all of a sudden that came across you? Well, the first thing you would do is contact the cafe. Because they obviously don't care it's been posted. So we'll be talking to the people at the cafe tomorrow while we're there. And we're going to say, were you guys out on the 25th? Because it's more likely they were out on the 25th. And it might be just a PR thing or stunt because of the COVID thing and they need more business or whatever, or they're just goofing off. But that's okay. But the idea of doing a narrative and providing it to your channel without vetting the data out correctly is not going to help. And not only that, it puts all of our data that we have on our maps from BFRO under question. That is the thing that bugs me the most, because we spend a lot of time having to vet data to make sure it's accurate for those who are watching our channel. And again, my channel's for beginners so that they don't get sucked into some of this other stuff that's online, so they're prepped for it. So when it hits them, they go, this is what Leon was talking about, So I think anybody, I don't care if it's Matt or whoever, we have a huge responsibility to people who are our viewers. This doesn't fall into the same category as I do a TV show, which he has done, many of them, and it's for entertainment purposes. This is a declaration, is what he's done here. And so we're going to go in there and find out whether or not this declaration is correct about him. I will eat dirt if I'm wrong. I will say I was wrong. I appreciate Matt doing everything he did. The weird part is it's like he posted it without, he knew we were going up there. Why not just wait till we get up there so we can tell him what we actually saw? We also have video of what he doesn't have. We'll also have contacted the cafe. We'll also have gridded out the area. We'll know where they came from. If it's a long trackway, there's no way that trackway is not going to produce a Sasquatch print. Unless it's not a Sasquatch. The same way that trackway, it's a long trackway. If it's a moose or an elk, we're going to find that out. And then what? I'll post that. Then what happens? Does he pull the ad, or does he pull the BFRO research, or does he leave it on? Because that's going to be even worse if he leaves it on.
Right.
Because everyone who knows me knows I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the bush stuff. And if you read the feed that's on that particular post, you have people already totally on target with, that's a moose track. Those are moose tracks. Those are moose tracks. Probably people who are Canadian and in the bush. And they show the videos of the moose trap, and they show the pictures of the moose track. No, this is 100% not, and listen to the word. Sorry, Jason, I'll give you a sec here. Listen to the priming narrative. He says, This is not a hoax, and no man could do this. Of course, no man can do it. I know no man who can do a 10-foot stride in snow that's 6 to 12 inches deep. But a moose can easily do it. I've seen moose tracks that go in 3 to 4 feet into the snow, and they look like that Christmas Story lantern that's really sexy.
Yeah.
In the movie, right?
Yes.
And they look just like that. They're funneled in just like that. So this was only by the time we.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, it'll come back. It'll come back. Do you remember where he stopped at?
Sexy leg lamp.
Sexy leg lamp. Okay.
Well, if you've seen the Christmas Story or A Christmas Story, you'll get the joke.
Right. Okay. I was just focusing.
Oh, we lost Leon. Yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, I'm. Oh, there is he back?
He's back. You went for a couple of minutes there.
Yeah, I got you. I was just seeing if my web email or my Wi-Fi went down. So, yeah, and so I mean that's all I'm interested in. I just want to know what's going on. What I didn't appreciate was, and again, you guys will all see this when I do the video, is the tone of one of his emails he sent me. Like I just thought, I'm not a goonball here. I think that's the thing is there's so many videos out there of goonballs that people just think when you're not a goonball, this is another goonball kind of guy. He had to correct me on the cafe name, and I said thanks for the correction on the cafe name. What's so wrong about being not perfect? But when we do our research, it's very systematic, so it's really hard to, we got 4 different eyes on it from 4 different bush skills. So it's not going to be one set of eyes and all 3 of us or 4 of us are talking about it where we're all influenced and we're all from the same skill area. We're all from 4 different skill areas in the bush. So there's going to be a lot of good toss salad approach going on there in regards to ideas of what we're actually looking at and seeing. So,
right. Well, I mean, it goes back to, like you said, why is he posting stuff when it's like, he knows you're going up there. Sorry. Allergies are killing me.
Sorry, buddy.
He knows you're going up there. He knows you're going to be looking into this. Why not wait until there's actual data and then have this conversation? Like you said,
content. It's content.
Yeah. At which point it changes from being, actual information. Saying that's one thing. He said, "Hey, we're having this report. Here's the information I have. Let's let if everyone wants to look at it and go investigate it, great." But like you said, he's taking it this whole other step. And it does seem like there's an unwarranted antagonism that doesn't really seem to that's not warranted with what you've done.
Yeah.
Moreover, again, I say this from the beginning. I'm not a tracker. I have never studied tracking. I'm a dude in art desk. That being said, I am a Texan. I have been out of the wood. I know how to do the bush thing. When you were showing the tracks, that my first thought was that same drag mark that Danielle you pointed out. That was my first thought. Like you said, the distance is too far, the tracks are too narrow. But that drag mark was my first thought was that's deer. Again, I've seen stuff like that in Texas. That's deer because of how when they're taking that step. That's what that is. I've seen it in snow when we go hunting because we've had some early snows here. I've seen it. And again, I see whitetail deer. I mean, from where I'm at, I don't see a moose, but that was my first thought was I've seen that before. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like you wouldn't expect a bipedal creature to leave that kind of drag mark particularly when you look at the other footprints. Like it just looks the question.
Yeah, and it goes contrary from my understanding of what Meldrum would say is that they don't walk forward like we do. They walk out and in and then down. Moose walks forward, its heel or its hoof will engage that. That's a pretty deep snow right there. Is that so? It's a casual strut or stride mark, and it'll skim that top and then drop it down. But I just don't understand. Well, when I do the video tomorrow or do up the video that I'll be posting, I'll say the number one thing that I've found since I've come online has been disappointment, and the disappointment is that and anyone who's been doing stuff and trying to use stuff online, it's been pretty hard to kind of negotiate that. Now you see how these tracks are like that. Now up, go up a bit, or yeah, scroll down a bit more. Now moose tracks will look like they're straight like this, and they'll have a slight variance to them periodically. And when you're talking, they're 10 feet apart. Now think of it. Now hold that right there, Daniel. Don't move that. Think of it. If they're 10 feet apart, that stride on that top hillside picture you're looking at right there, there's no way that thing is going to have to be a 20-foot Sasquatch to make its heel hit that thing to go straight down after that marking there, if that's a 10-foot stride.
Yeah.
But a moose could do that quite readily and quite normally. Again, I think of a lot of people who've been out in the bush or been looking for Sasquatch. That's fine, but you need to be trained in the bush, and you need to know what you're looking at, and you need help, and you can educate yourself to negotiate that. But again, the bottom track there, you can see there's a little to the right-hand side. I'm pointing at it. You guys won't be able to see it, but at the right-hand side there's a little dot of blackness. If you go up a bit more, a little higher, yeah, right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go down to where you dropped it again. Just down below with it. No, sorry, leave the picture there. Move your cursor to the bottom part where you first pointed. And I said, no, yeah, there, and then down there. Yeah. That's a double track right there.
Right, okay. Why do you think that is? What's your...
Well, because when it's, the reason why you can't see the front track is because when the back track lifted up there, it cuffed the snow. You can just see the front part of the tracks, the snow's been cuffed there. That made it kind of avalanche down into the front part of the front foot, or the front hoof. So now I hope I'm wrong about all this. But I have to tell you what I know right now, and all three of us have looked at these pictures, and all of us are coming up with the same conclusion. You go on the feed, you have a lot of other people saying the same thing, and they're showing pictures of this style of stuff, and they look like moose. They don't have the right parameter for the side for something that is beveled-footed. You know, it should be beveled on the side as it goes straight down. That's not beveled like this. We're talking a pad, right? It goes like this. We're not talking a hoof that goes straight in, like it cuts in to the ground.
Yeah,
it would be a different pad mark in there. It would go like it would go like this, and it would go down like that, meaning the sides would be smooth and circular. It wouldn't be sharp and crisp. And I know I have eyes that see it differently than people who aren't trained to look at it that way. But right now, when I look at those things. Again, the thing that is bothersome to me is why in the world, like you said, Jason, why not just wait? I know we're not here to be famous. I mean, you guys know this. I mean, I just mentioned in my Christmas video, once they hit 1,000 subscribers, they'll probably drop it. I'll send out the message saying I'll be cutting subscribers. You got to let me know that you want to be on site, because if I knock it down to 500, I'd rather have 500 people in front of the academics. I've been online for 5 years. I'm an illusionist. You think I couldn't get a 50,000 subscriber channel? I can easily get a 50,000 subscriber. I can show you the best of the best stuff. It would be all hoaxed, though. But I'm not here to hoax anybody, because I want to find people who will help me find them. And this is not going to help me if I'm wrong. And I will have to suck this up. I hope that he will be able to suck it up if we show the other information. That's my concern.
Well, I think if you make an honest mistake, you need to be willing to own up to it. And that's what you're saying, is you're willing to own up to it. If you're misinterpreting what you said, you get up and you're like, nope, this is a thing. You said you're willing to eat the crow. I think anyone of good faith and goodwill should be willing to eat crow if they're wrong publicly. But again, it seems like there's more going on. I want to answer Wild Crow asked a question, said, but isn't there an eyewitness? Did they ever say it was a moose? But Wild Crow, my understanding of the situation is someone saw a Sasquatch, and then later someone else took photos of the foot of this trackway. There's not an actual connection. It wasn't like someone said, I saw a Sasquatch, and here's the pictures of the trackway it left, right?
Okay, I'll help you with that. So from my understanding is 4 people were in the vehicle. 2 of the people saw the Sasquatch, the other 2 didn't. The following morning, they went out with 2 more people, if I get the story correctly, and then they took pictures that we just were looking at there. That's what I've heard the story as being. So now the thing that when I first read the report and it said they was standing up and then it went on all 4s, and I thought to myself, oh, that sure sounds like a moose to me. Now remember, a moose turned away from you so it doesn't look like a horse's head from a side angle. And it's up standing straight like this, and it's browsing trees. Remember, it's nighttime too. I think it was at 9:30. It's getting dark. It's dark right now, and it's 4:56. It started getting dark at 4 p.m. So at 4 p.m.-ish, it's black outside right now. I can't even see it on my patio doors right now. And so if you're looking alongside of the highway at something that's looking really tall, with a moose does, you've seen deer stand up and do right? A moose do the same thing in the wintertime because they've browsed everything that's too low. So they stand up like this, and then they go drop down on all four. Now, that's the other reason I want to see where the drop down location is, because if the drop down location is there as it's coming down on all four, depending on how it came down, if it came down as a casual kind of a regression compared to a drop down, there's a lot of interesting data I'm going to be able to pick up through the visuals of the tracks on that. I think that the disheartening thing is, what do you do with this? If the upper people on the mainstream Bigfoot stuff that we've all watched online are doing it this shallow, there you go. That's why we haven't seen nothing in 50 years, my friend. I'm at the point where I don't really care that I'm online. I mean, I care about my subscribers, and I don't mind doing these kind of things, but I have 40 videos on my channel. No one's even seen.
It feels like there's a resistance to people trying to actually do serious investigation with this.
Right.
People try and I don't know what it is. Maybe people don't want it solved, and then they can just stay in this mystery Bigfoot world.
Well, I think I think you're right. I mean, there's a great series I watched on YouTube. I think there's 10 videos altogether, and it's called Why Do We Believe, or something like that. And it's 10 smaller videos, but it talks about our brains and how our brains try to process information through life, and what why we develop these belief systems. And a lot of that process is unfortunately automatic for the brain. We think it's us doing it, but it's our brain actually moving those directions, because we can't do everything. Our brain has to, we can't think about breathing. Imagine if we had to do that, and then think about focusing on my heart pounding.
Who's trying to spin what here? Trying to work out what this comment means. I've lived in Alaska, currently live in Wyoming. I know news too. Come on, eyewitnesses and photos of track, and you're still trying to spin. Wow, what can you elaborate on that? You put something earlier as well about why isn't the I think you said this last week as well. Eyewitness and tracks, and we need more. Why isn't Patty film clear enough and good enough?
I think it is clear enough and good enough. That's why we're doing what we're doing. But the problem is, you can't keep going back to a 50-year-old film saying that's all we got. Let's up our game and see if we can get more stuff like that. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I don't get it. None of us here are trying to spin anything. We're trying to sort out the rubbish from the bits of real information that's out there. Because we're just, what's the point in doing anything? It's like trying to do a jigsaw puzzle, but you've got pieces from 5 different jigsaws in there. How are you gonna work it out? And so,
and it goes back to, again, I've seen one.
Okay, so why are we still looking for evidence? A waste of time. But we're not looking for. We're looking to try and find out what this creature is. We don't know anything about it. We don't know zero about this creature. Even if we get that footage, even if we get a piece of body, still not going to tell us anything about this creature, its habits, what it does. We can't even observe what this thing is. I mean, we have to get a bit closer to it to even get to that point. And if it's just sitting back and letting people just post rubbish and guesswork, I'm not saying everybody does that, but we need to start taking a bit of responsibility with this, because I don't want to be the one saying, Bigfoot do structures. I don't know that. I'd want to know if that's true before I said that.
Let's be honest, we still have biologists studying animals that we've seen and observed for thousands of years, because there's always more to learn, more to know. We need to know how they fit, their ecological niche. let me just go through the questions that no one
Go
has
out
an
and
answer for.
research. People have been doing it for 50 years and they're still not come back with anything. So going out, research, that's rubbish. We need to investigate, stop researching.
Exactly.
We've got nothing to research from, nothing to go back and read that book. Oh, this is our research. That no, this isn't the answer. Go out and research. I don't need to go out and research. There's plenty of people out there doing it and still not coming up with anything.
Well, Leon's out there studying it right now. That's the whole point. He's going out to do research of this sighting. That's the entire point. He's going out there to do that. But the problem is we have people who are out there making claims they have no way of proving. And again, it's like, well, we know they exist. Great, we know they exist, but what are they? You don't know what they are. We don't know what they actually eat. We don't know where their breeding population is. We don't know what their migratory patterns are. We don't know anything about this after 50 years. We got a lot of people who are saying that they know stuff they have no way of knowing. People are out here trying to do research. We're trying to get good information. Leon is trying to get good information. He's saying, look, here's an account. Let's go investigate it and then come back with something. That's all we're trying to say. But it does seem like there's actual pushback on trying to really understand what these creatures are and get good, solid evidence. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. But it does seem like that there are people who don't want to know these things. They want them to stay unknown.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. He's keeping it in this fantasy Bigfoot world. I don't want to do this anymore. Just following rumors and what people think. And I'm no disrespect to anyone, but those that are coming out with going, it's definitely this. Oh no, it's that. You're wrong. Nobody knows, and we need to raise the bar because we will be having this conversation for the next 5 years. If we don't do anything, we will be having the same repeat conversations. And quite frankly, I'm sick of hearing myself going over the same old thing. You know, if I'm bored of myself, I'm pretty sure people are going to get pretty bored of me repeating it. So, you know, we want to do something different. We need to do something different. We can't carry on like this, for me, you know, and if it means upsetting a few people because we're saying not taking that crap anymore, then so be it. You know, we're not fighting a losing battle at all because I'm not interested. If you don't want to follow what we're doing, that's fine. Go and do your own thing. But there's a set of people that actually want to find some answers here. And you can jump on our train if you want, or go on your own train. It doesn't really matter to me. I want people to come here who are interested in what we are doing. We're not trying to convince people. You either like what we're saying or you don't. And that's pretty much the bottom line, I'm afraid. I love you all, but we need to up our game on this. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same old boring thing week after week. And I don't want that.
Well, again, unfortunately, we lost Leon, and hopefully his internet can come back. But
he's back.
There he is.
My other laptop just crashed. Totally blank, and I thought, oh no! So I grabbed my other one.
At least you've got a stove and some heating.
We're going back into the dark ages again, you guys. It's coming. It's all.
Hey, look, if that EMP is dropped tomorrow, I'm happy. I'm just like, okay, cool. I wanted to live out of a I keep teasing my wife. I'm like, look, when things get bad, I'm going to be very happy just living in like this little cave with like a lean-to and a fire. Like, I'm happy. I'm done. Like, I don't have to put up with all the crap that I have to put up with in a daily. It's like, look, if I'm just out there wrestling some bear for a deer kill, I'm happy. But I mean, it really goes back to the problem is we have a conversation that is so we don't know anything. We don't even really know the questions to ask half the time, do we? I mean, so I just found out that there are people saying that we've got dogman sightings out of my hometown.
Ooh.
And I'm like, hold up. That's insane. I'm sorry. It just is. If we're talking about a physical creature, the fact that people are seeing dogman in my hometown, that's nuts. Now, is there reason to think Bigfoot? I think there's reason to think Bigfoot. But guess what? I can go north, just a few minutes north of Dallas, and I got some really weird things happening. in the city of Dallas, like in downtown, not necessarily downtown Dallas, it's White Rock Lake, but that's right off of downtown. Like, that tells me that's paranormal stuff. We can't separate the two. And how do we know if people are actually seeing what they're seeing? When people see something unfamiliar, they don't necessarily always report it correctly. We need more information. I mean, even the question I asked Daniela, we've got this whole thing about, European Bigfoot, but I'm asking the question, how do we know they're actually Bigfoot? Like, we don't even know that. I mean, we have this, everyone talks about Xana, the Almas, and I'm like, but she bred with humans. How do we know she's just not human? Like, there's more going on here. And there are accounts of bipedal, seemingly ape creatures all around the world, but of different heights. And they all seem to have different things. That doesn't mean they're all related. These could be something entirely different. There's a story in Scandinavia of a cop coming across some kids and I find this story very reprehensible for a lot of reasons, but the cop saw, he reported it, a hairy woman running away from the site, and the guys said that this primitive woman that they were exchanging food and sex with her. And they reported like they didn't think she was necessarily purely human. So what is that? And we have stories of giants, ogres, and trolls. All of them look different. Is it possible that there have been different species on this planet? And the problem is, we're just trying to find a way to put these all together. But we don't even have the questions to ask.
Well, it goes back to, when the guy says, well, you get out there and you research. What? What do you go out and look for? Where do you go out and look for? What is it you're looking for? Well, how do you know? Like any other species, you can figure out how to go find them because you learn about where they hang out, why they hang out, all that kind of stuff. That's the data we don't have. So I'm not saying it specifically to the person who posted that because I think that's a valid point. But the point is we're still at, as Thomas Steenberg said, we're still at stage one in regards to tracking these guys down. That's why it's taken us 5 years to do a migrational pattern for our local area. And it happens to fit the same ideology as the First Nations band in the area, that the mountain is called Dog Mountain. You're not going to see that if you try to punch Dog Mountain into Google's map. And that's where they believe their home range is, at least for most of the part. They always seem to go back there and then come through from the east to the west corridor through Echo Lake Valley. So now, could I be totally wrong? Yeah. Part of the thing I said to Matt in one of the emails is I want to check the prints to see whether or not the prints are familiar to the other prints. So we find out whether or not they're common or it's a new individual that's in the area. I mean, this is the stuff we're looking for. I don't find many people are talking the way I'm talking. We're just talking and talking and talking about, well, I don't know how many times I've heard people comment, Leon's got to get out in the bush. Man, I can trust. I've been in the bush, isolation, with bears trying to kill us for 30 days. So don't talk to me about being in the bush. I've been stalked by a grizzly. I've been stalked by a cougar. Don't talk to me about being in the bush. I've had 11 people die in the forest. Don't talk to me about being in the bush. If you're not in the bush and don't have bush smarts and you don't have the rhythm of the bush, don't come and talk to me as if you know me, because you don't know me. That's why I've waited 5 years to get the right team. So when we find these guys, we know what to do. I'm not even saying I'm not even sitting here. The odds are against us. And we know this, even going out tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I go out there and it's a huge freaking print that's crystal clear that I can show you guys and say, Matt, it was a dead on one. Perfect, buddy. I wish he wouldn't have done it the way he did it, but I hope we can do that for him. I hope we can do that for us, because we need to see that trackway, and we have the guys skilled enough to track this trackway, not for 10 yards or 50 feet. We have guys qualified to track it down for miles. So if it's what we're hoping it's going to be a heck of a find for us. I mean, there's nothing better than looking. We have what's called the Winter Pathways Project. And the Winter Pathways Project, because it's like seeing a white piece of paper that's blank that has black dots on it in a straight line. That's all we need to look for. It's not the same as going out in the summertime looking across trying to read the ground where you've got 17 different shades of green, brown, black, and yellow on the ground. Trying to follow tracks over moss or over solid rock with moss on it. That's a lot more difficult ground reading. But finding tracks in the snow, and especially if it's warm and mellow right now, that means it's going to be mushy. It's going to be a lot easier for us to spot the ground and spot the tracks. This is why this is a very important opportunity for us in the Okanagan. But I don't need it. I don't need it. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you over help me. Yeah, thank you guys for helping me tonight with my brain. But I don't need anyone to over project onto stuff. It's not going to help us out. Again, we're there not to prove it's not a Sasquatch. We want it to be a Sasquatch, but from what we're suspicious of what right now is, we have to stick with where we're at right now. We have to be objective about it. It's not about a personal perspective. As soon as that happens to be personalized, then it can't be objective. We all want it. I know Nick will run right up to the bloody thing with a camera right on his forehead. And every time he's got it, yeah, he will. Nick will do that. I've never seen. He's got that gene. You meet these people that have these genes where they seem to be fearless, and he's fearless. And I mean, the guy runs the top crests of mountain ranges, like you've seen those YouTube videos where you're watching it, you're actually getting sick just watching these guys go where they're at. It's like, I get vertigo, fall down the mountain, die. Yeah, he's like, woohoo, and he's running down this stuff, so I don't need somebody who thinks they know me or know you guys. Be a little gracious towards us. We're doing the damnedest to give you the best we can, and that's what everyone should be doing online, is to give the best info we can for those who are really interested in the topic. We're not this channel, or a lot of the channels. They're not for entertaining or curious stories about Sasquatch. There are those channels, and I collect data off of all those stories because it's important to do that. But there needs to be another voice out here online which is talking about, that's not a Sasquatch. I had somebody post the other day, well, this is a Sasquatch, and how come the structure's a Sasquatch, and why is it bushcraft? Well, because it is. It's not that hard to do your one finger research by looking up bushcraft and go to image sections and go down the millions of pictures of bushcraft, and then you'll start seeing, your brain will start taking those images and compartmentalizing them in your head. And so when you see it, you're going to say, oh, there's some familiarity to this as bushcraft. Bushcraft has been a long time out there, way hundreds of years, everybody, before Bigfoot or Sasquatch was connected to them. So it's not like it's anything, I'm counterbalancing something. I'm not counterbalancing anything. You go with the evidence that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you learn about weaved bushcraft. Those are usually hunts or blinds when you have that. I don't have all the terminologies that Nick has, but I'm not here to prove that they're not. I hope they're making interesting bush things to communicate. That would be spectacular. But we're starting, like you said, is when you're going to say, well, go do research. Oh, show me the textbook I need to go do that with. Give me the book I should be reading for that. And make sure the book is vetted before you talk to me about the quantum physics Sasquatch, because that's not going to help me out here at all, especially if you don't know quantum physics and know how it actually works, and all these other things.
I said something the other day. It was about, people are going out doing different things. We're going to end it soon as well, because I know, Jason, do you need to go, Jason? Are you?
I got some time.
Yeah, okay. That people going out and just focusing on one thing, like just tracks or just the structures, and it's a bit like, if you were learning to drive, you wouldn't go and stand in the road and study the tarmac,
or watch the cars go by.
Or watch the cars go by.
Yeah.
You want to learn how to drive the car. So why are you focusing on how they lay the concrete on the road instead of focusing on that, the car? So, we need to shift the way we're thinking and looking into this. But look, let's call it a day for now, because I think we've got quite a lot out tonight. And you know, I appreciate everyone's comments, and I know we don't always get on, but you know, this is we need to have these discussions, and everyone's opinion is welcome. Whether I agree with it or not, you're all entitled to do that. And I hope I haven't upset anyone tonight, but I just feel so passionate about moving forward with this, and for us not to keep repeating the same things over and over. And there has to be another way of looking. There are other ways of looking into it. Honestly, I know that, and I'm sat in England, and I'm working on something that hopefully will change the way we collect information, hopefully for the better. But we have to do this. We have to, you know, kind of make our own path, because there's a lot of people supporting people like the BFRO, got thousands of members, and other big channels out there that aren't, you know, giving you the same old thing over and over, and there's no vetting, there's no regulating, and it's just a free for all at the moment. And a lot of people are being duped by rubbish and being wasting time watching videos that are just not educational or not going to help. And it's all right having a bit of fun and a bit of entertainment, but it's really going to slant the way that you think about these things. It's really going to blur the reality of what's out there. I don't know what it is. It could be supernatural. It could be flesh and blood. I don't know, but just putting everything into a pile is not a way to look at things clearly. So, you know.
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for letting me kind of debrief that, because you can see the frustration that I'm having right now. I mean, I'm dealing with somebody who's been on the line for a long time and been on TV and stuff, and but if the data is not there, the data is not there, and the data should stand on its own. It doesn't matter if I see it or somebody else see it. So we have, like I said, 4 different people from 4 different fields that'll be looking at the data tomorrow, and we will fight it through. But I'll tell you, it's heartbreaking in a way to realize, is it that bad? Has it been nearly that bad? Is Jason correct? Is this part we're missing for 50 years? Is we're just going around the cul-de-sac?
Strange Line saying, Leon, good luck with your search tomorrow. You're a true balance researcher. Start your own organisation. Well, we kind of have. Leon has already. Leon's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. Jason Tex, you're doing your thing.
Yep.
We're out there doing this in our own little ways, and we don't need to. We are connected.
Yeah, and I think that's the key part. We've been doing that, working on that for a good year now, you guys. Not just with us 3, but other channels as well. There's a different happening now online with a specific style of thinking and viewing what we're trying to do here. And it's more important that we keep networking together and mention each other's names and videos and sharing ideas that you might share tonight, and I'll share it on a video tomorrow if I'm filming. You know, I was just talking to Jason last night. He was mentioning about this, blah 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 blah. And I don't care who explains
as well. Pat Turner, check him out, because he's talking the same way that we are, and
Steve from Curious Cryptid too. Steve is brilliant with his narration and his thinking process. We need that model in our brain, so our neural pathway can grab that style of thinking process. So when we're looking at stuff, it's actually going to push us right forward, and the reward of that to our brain and what our caliber of capacity is, you feel really good about it. You know, instead of worrying about being wrong. So, anyways, appreciate you both for letting me kind of debrief. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Matt's 100% right, and I'm viewing everything wrong. But we'll let you know pretty quickly here.
And we're doing nothing wrong. What's wrong with questioning what these people are doing? What is wrong? People need to do this. Because it just gets, added to the next bit of Sasquatch information. Or sorry, Jason, it's I can't say it now.
Sasquatches. See, that's the we can't even agree on what the plural for Bigfoot or Sasquatch is. Like, is it Sasquatches? Is it Sasquatch? Is Sasquatch a plural? Like, look, there's a herd of Sasquatch.
Yes, actually, it is. That's true. It's like moose. You don't say mooses. It's actually a herd or a group. According to native tradition for Sasquatch, it's plural both ways.
So that's like mice.
In case anyone's interested in knowing that. So
Get mice is. It's just mice, isn't it?
Mice, yeah.
Well, because mouse is singular, mice is plural.
Oh, mouse. Yes, sorry about that. Look, it's 1:20 in the morning. That's my excuse. I can't think. Leon, thanks for coming on, sharing that. I'll be looking forward. We'll have an update, hopefully, and we can take this, further. Jason, thank you. As always.
As always, Danielle, thank you.
Just beautiful, sat there, keeping me company. I love it. It is. It is. Thanks, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed tonight, and we'll be back again next week.
We'll probably talk about beer or something next week.
Let's talk about beer and vodka. Yeah.
So hold on. Let me talk. I've got a friend who does miracle things with vodka. We'll talk offline.
Nice. Right then. I'm still saying nice. I don't even drink. Someone was saying the other week, though, I was saying I don't drink, and I was coming out with all these drinks, and they were thinking it's some sort of alcohol.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Right. Gotta go because I'm cold. Put some more coal on the fire. Everyone take care. Have a good night. And I'll see you next week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.